Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
No worries. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Yeah, I just want to say it's very interesting what you do. I love what you do. It's you add a lot of sort of pizzazz to tutorials. You add a lot of ketchup sauce to chips. You make it very invigorating.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a real passion of mine. So that's why, you know, I wanted to do it for a long time, and it's a pleasure actually to be able to help people from around the world and create tutorials. And yeah, it's doing really well. So I'm happy about that.
And yeah, so I saw that Lakid video, and you gave a bit of sort of a background info. And so,
yeah.
How did the whole journey sort of start of you becoming sort of wanting to produce sort of art content out there? I know you went to university and.
Yeah, so basically, art has always been something that I've been very interested in my whole life. Like, did my A levels, got the A grades, then went to university as well, did my art degree. And I was always out and about and doing lots of different projects. And can you imagine, with an art degree, you would have to do quite a lot of different bits in terms of collaborating with other artists, to doing installation outdoors. So I was always active. And then I got married and had a baby. And for a while I kind of stayed in a bubble at home, and I love looking after my kids, and I wanted to be the type of mother that was home and was with the kids. I mean, as much as I loved working, and I was still creating, I was still doing projects, and I was still doing lots of things at home, but then a friend of mine had started YouTube and said, well, you know, you love art, why don't you give it a go? And at first was like, oh, I don't know, and then they were like, oh, but you know, I'll look after your baby, go upstairs and record something right now. So I was like, okay, and then I just gave it a shot, really. And at first, you can imagine, it's just, you know, friends and family watching, that's it really. And then it just grew from there. So that's really how it started. Yeah.
So, and one of the things that I find interesting about, I feel like when someone thinks of art, I mean, most of what people think of arts is mostly to do with sort of Vincent van Gogh, sort of impressionist sort of era type of art.
Exactly. But it's not that. I mean, the thing is, this is the thing I think they should teach in schools. They usually focus on the artists that are long gone and dead, and that's great to learn the history, because if we don't learn the history, we don't get inspired, and we can't move on, and we don't know what's there. And history is very important and vital. But what I didn't know, actually, even when I was studying art in GCSEs, was that contemporary artists, there are artists that are doing amazing work right now, and it's not highlighted in education. And yeah, you can become an artist at any point. It's not like it's long gone or anything like that. And art can be viewed in many different ways, and like, it's not just a painting on a wall, it can be anything. It can be performance art, installation. There's so much possibilities. So yeah, I wanted to show people that as well, and inspire people out there.
One thing that's really sort of fascinated me, and you've probably heard of him, do you know of Invader?
Invader? No, I don't know much of Invader. Who?
He's a street artist, and what he does is he just puts a lot of 70s or 80s arcade games, and he sort of plasters them around different cities.
Oh, I've seen work very similar to that. That's really interesting. I would definitely look into that. I mean, yeah, is it similar to, is it like a stencil art? Is it similar to Banksy, or is it something a bit yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I actually am a big fan of gaming. I'm a gamer. I finished the game from start to end. And I am. This is what I do in my spare time: art and gaming and gardening as well. But those three things are like top. That's kind of what keeps me going, especially in this crisis that's happening right now. You need something to take your mind off things.
It's a very, very much sort of a wax on, wax off thing. So you got the logical side, which is very gaming, step by step process, and you got the creativity of the gardening and the.
Yes, it's all creative. That's the thing. Art lends itself to so much, even lends itself to cooking. I mean, art is endless and everything. And when I was studying art, we were all together, but we all had these different interests. And it didn't matter if someone had an interest in cooking even, or in anything. And it was about the solar system or any topic, absolutely any topic. They were able to convey that in their art piece. So it's absolutely endless. And even about the unknown, like things that we don't even know, and even fantasy can be inserted into art. It's absolutely endless. And that's what I love about it the most, is that, it makes you think, it makes you stop in time, and it makes you think, and it makes you, that's what I love about it. And when I go to an art gallery and I see different art pieces, things I've never thought of, or ideas that I've never ever come across, yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. And when I was doing art, there was a lot of things that we would do. People would be like, huh, what's that? Doesn't make no sense. I mean, I remember once we went to an old construction site, and we picked up a brick and we placed it in, there was like a bit like a plinth in the middle of London. So we placed it on that. It was like just there. And then we all crowded around it, and we were all talking about this brick, and people were looking at us like we were crazy. They were like, what are they doing, looking around? People started like walking and like thinking, what's going on, what is that about? But the lesson was that we were talking about what the value of that brick is. It came from a building that was broken down, and it was a well-known building, and all the valuable sort of, let's say, history of what that brick represented. And so someone else, it could just be like, what are you doing? But to us it was just fascinating. And yeah, I mean, that type of art really interests me as well. The fact that it might not make sense to everyone, but it is something that is worth stopping and thinking about. Simple as that. Yeah.
Well, that's what things are about, isn't it? If you're doing things that are too safe, or you're doing things that are too contemporary, things are boring. You've got to have some fun.
Exactly. Got to have some fun. Got to change it up a bit. Push the boundaries, and the artists that get the publicity, no matter what they do, is usually the ones that actually make it, because they're doing something a bit controversial, something a bit out of the box. And that's what makes them well known, coming up with this new idea that no one ever thought of, and just making someone think about it, or creating controversy about a topic or something. That's that's something that gets gets the artists, a bit more up on the ladder in the art world.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what you do. There's so many things you could do with it. It could be used for comedy. Like it'd be quite funny to see a confetti sort of puppet or something. If I was doing a puppet show, a giant.
Exactly. Do you know what? With TikTok, I've been using like comedy and art mixed together. So I've got the same name on TikTok. It's Fatima's Art Show, but I do like there was one where an artist was splashing paint, creating art, and she had this large mop and she was splashing paint onto the canvas. And I did a duo where I was like next to her, and I'm pretending like I'm watching her making this art piece, and then she splats the paint and it goes on my face as she puts the mop on the canvas. So like that sort of duo, she loved it as well, and she responded in my comment section. So like it is a mixture of comedy and art. So I love the fact that TikTok allows you to do that. And so recently I have been doing a bit of comedy with art, let's say.
Yeah, it's TikTok. I mean, it's quite an incredible thing. I know a comedian who's just been on it about a month or two, and now he's got about 70,000 followers on it.
Yeah, it grows so quick. like one of my posts reached more than 500,000, and I swear to God, it wasn't even me doing much, and I couldn't believe it. Like sometimes it's the ones that you don't even think. But sometimes you spend so much time creating a video, even on YouTube or like now on TikTok, and you think, oh, that video is going to get loads of views. I've worked so hard on it. And then it's literally the one that you might have worked the least or didn't expect. And it's just like, it was literally me sort of nodding along to a girl that was saying, it was from a TV show. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Boys. But she was basically saying, it's my body. I choose how much of it I cover. And it was just me agreeing to her, because I do believe that every woman should have a choice, how much she shows, how much she reveals, whether it's less or more. It's a choice. And so I was just literally nodding along, and that video, in fact, that post got more than 500,000, and a lot of people were commenting. And I'll have to say the comment section did get quite nasty, because not everybody likes to see someone with a headscarf, you know, talking about this topic in particular. So yeah, so it's controversial.
To be honest though, you're still the winner in a way, because Lily Singh said when when someone says a bad comment or watches a video, who's winning? You're giving her an engagement by commenting. You're watching a video. So I mean, they've helped you in a way by commenting.
That is true. And that's how it works, even on YouTube. Like if you post, if you get comments, no matter how bad they are. And the great thing is, I will get a bad comment, but then I'll get 10 more defending me or saying something nicer comments. So then kind of he sparked that engagement, and that's what they look for. That's what these apps look for. They look for that audience engagement. So win-win. Yeah.
Next time someone does that, wind them up even more, like give them compliments, say, thank you, you're very good looking. Have you been working out or something?
I mean, to be honest with you, like you have to have thick skin to do this, to be in the public eye, because the comments can get really nasty. Like they can get like one of them was, get out of this country, and there's really nasty comments, but you've got to just kind of just see it as, you know, trolls. They're trolls, and they're just looking to comment and like you said, they're benefiting me because other people are also commenting, and it's creating that engagement. So doesn't bother me. Yeah, I don't really mind what people say. I think that's all part of the game, isn't it? If you are in the public eye, you will get people that will love you and people that will hate you, and you just got to you know, just let it go, really. Just don't let it affect you. That's the way I see it.
There are three things that I'd like to add to what you said. They say that if you don't stand for anything, then if you're disliked, then you're standing for something, and you're at least mildly interesting for them to dislike you. Yeah. Two, it's what's it called? Yeah, I mean, it's they need to find something else better to do with their time. By the time they thought of an insulting comment, they could have maybe read a book or something, or they could have.
There you go.
And it's just helping you. It's not really, and it helps you get views, and it also toughens your skin. Exactly.
So it's all good. And then it can you know, when I was comments towards me on YouTube, I was it toughened my skin, and it was I'll tell you about the ones that hurt a little bit. Was when and now YouTube has changed it, but it was when I was early on YouTube, I was just me, and then my kids wanted to get involved and create the videos with me, and at that time it wasn't like strict about, and it was nice because I wanted to create art like with kids and ideas for parents, that creative things they could do with their kids and spark that creativity and imagination and keep it going, because if you nourish that can really value the child later on in life, I believe. And so I wanted to do that, And so my kids got involved, they created videos, they got really popular. And then when I got those nasty comments towards my kids, those did hurt a little bit because they were my children. It was like I was like thinking, oh, but if it was me, you know, fair enough, but if it's my kids, no. So I deleted those comments. Those are probably the only comments on my channel that I was deleting. And yeah, it could have benefited me for me to keep them on there, but because it was concerning my kids, it was like a no. It was like, no, I can't have that there, you know. So that's the only thing. But other than that, yeah, for me, I was like, yeah, just keep them on there. People write, they'll comment. But yeah, and now I'm glad YouTube has toughened up, because it was something I felt like that needed to be done. I know it's hit a lot of people and annoyed a lot of people, and they actually made all my videos, they made them like they took all the comments at one point and stuff like that, and then I contacted them, and then the ones that didn't include my kids, I had obviously told them that they didn't include my kids, so it wasn't as tough on those than the ones that included my kids. So yeah,
I like, so it's funny that you're getting that, because your channel is very it's very, no, it's just nice, friendly, and there's no political agenda, no anything. It's just you're doing what you like doing, and it's a very family feel, and yet you're still getting that sort of animosity.
yeah, that's the thing. No matter what you do, yeah, you will get that. I mean, even if it's completely like just something that's, like you said, fun, friendly. That's what I wanted my channel to be. I wanted to be fun, friendly. It wasn't about, you know, I know a lot of people, they see, oh, the first thing they see is, oh, she's wearing a headscarf, that means it must be her preaching or doing something about Islam or something like that, or trying to convert people or whatever. No, it was just purely me, you know, with the word out the headscarf. It was me doing, you know, creating art, doing something I love, and sharing my knowledge and having fun. And that's what it's all about, you know. But it can't be helped, you know. People will always attach other things with it, and you know, that's part of it, I guess, like I said. So yeah.
I think I remember watching your video with Elena, and one thing I really liked about both of you guys, you and Francis, is that, and I think is a very key message, I think there's quite a lot of people that get involved in these sort of things just to be famous. They don't like think about what they're doing. Like you and Francis, like you can see when you watch the videos and see what you do, you're doing something that you like doing, that you enjoy doing. Even now I can see the passion coming from you.
Yes, definitely. I think that's what I was trying to tell people as well. Anyone that wants to start a YouTube channel or anything like that. And I've had friends that have started, like made 1 or 2 videos and then just stopped. It's because they don't think, what do I want to do? What do I love? What do I have passion for? They might just see what others are doing and think, okay, let's just nod along and just, you know, do it because it's popular and people are doing it, but not because if you want to be successful, you have to do something that I believe you truly love and enjoy, and just carry that on. And to be honest with you, I've had people say to my face, you know, after I've told them, you know, I do an art channel, that I'm not really interested in art. And that's fine. Not everyone's going to be interested in art. That's, you know, that's what it is. Not everyone's going to be wanting to do a creative activity, or not everyone's going to be wanting to learn a new artistic technique, and that's fine. But if I can cater and help the ones that do, ones that were like me in as a student, I wanted these ideas when YouTube started, and I would go on YouTube and search for a technique that we had done in the classroom and just want to remind myself. So yeah, so basically if it helps those people that do want to view my channel, then it's fine. And then I've done something to help someone, so it's good.
So, and with your journey of getting into sort of creative art, did you start off with the paintings and all that, but how did you go into being more sort of creative? And I've seen some of them, like I like the Punch and Judy television thing that your kids made. That was good. I like
yeah, so you mean how did I go into sort of creating that sort of content? Is that what you mean, like the children's content? Or sorry, can you just
Sure.
can you just, yeah.
So, I mean, when you were studying art at school, you mostly did the sort of Mozart history kind of paintings.
Yes.
And how
Well,
did
do you
you?
know what? No, my degree was completely unlike any other degree. So I didn't do a purely a fine art degree. I went to Westminster University and I did a degree called mixed media fine art, which wasn't as people might think. It's not just a degree that we look at just paintings and it was a mixed media, so we covered a range of different techniques and I even did performance art. I did installations, so it was very varied. It was very varied, and the kids aspect came into it because I did also study to become a qualified early years educator, and I am a qualified early years educator. So what that knowledge of childcare also became part of my videos. So it just, yeah, it kind of naturally became part of my videos because I had children, and also because I got qualified to be an early years educator and worked in nurseries and saw what children were doing, and I was creating activities for children as well. So yeah, so it just kind of evolved in time, like it just evolved, and I think that's what happened. It was just a natural thing, just evolved from what I was doing at the time, really. So yeah.
Okay, so you started off being interested in fine art, and then you did your degree, and it just over time you just found okay. So you
Yeah,
just
so what happened is, so I did my degree. I did mini projects. I did like after school clubs, art clubs for schools. I was still active. I was still doing mini jobs here and there. I wasn't just purely at home. I was doing mini jobs here and there, and I worked in schools and worked in high schools as well, primary schools and high schools, and got lots of different knowledge, different work experience, let's say, from those jobs. But then I was just like, because at the same time, like I said, it was managing being a parent versus as well loving art. So I started by doing parenting courses because I was like, everyone was like to me, why are you doing parenting courses? You're already a great mum. But I was like, look, knowledge and education, you can never stop learning. I was like, you can never stop learning.
yeah.
About like how to raise your kids. You can never stop learning about just that aspect of you. It's not something that we just know as parents, how to raise children. So I was just like, I want to do these parenting courses because I just want to gain the knowledge. So I did like 2 parenting courses, and they were great. And I was just like, really, will that actually work? And I tried a lot of the things on my kids, and they were doing really well, like simple things like putting your kids to bed without you having to be in the room, just being able for them to let go and say goodnight to you, or just simple things, and that were working. So then, because I had the love for art, and then now the all this knowledge from the parenting courses, I was like, wait a minute, I love art and all this knowledge, and I've already have experience working in schools as well. Let's combine that all together and insert that into my channel. And also, I worked in a nursery as well. I had a full-time job in a nursery while doing YouTube as well, believe it or not. I only stopped working in, so January, I stopped working. I had a full-time job in a nursery once my kids grew up a bit and went to school. So in also working in the nursery, I was able to, nourish these kids and just like give them all this like all these different activities and come up with new ideas. And it was wonderful, because some people do think, oh, high school or college or at that age, that's the age that you need to teach. But the first 7 years of a child's life, they say, is important, because that's the foundation. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. That's the 7 years is what molds you. And even when you grow up and you whether you're a trustworthy person or you're not, or whatever things you have. It's all to do with neuroscience. That's all to do with how you were in the first 7 years of your life, but we just don't know because we just don't know. It's all, you know, psychological. We don't know that. So, but it's there. It has affected us. So so if I've had an impact on not only the people that have watched my videos and, you know, gotten these ideas, but also became more creative, or I've done something to spark their imagination, then if I can also do that firsthand and help people in my workplace, like help children, and that'll be great. That's great. So it's all win-win. It's putting my contribution into the world, really, because you know, let's just face it, no one knows how long they're going to be alive for, and I feel like all these people that have made a real difference, and I you know, I aspire to be like them, because, you know, it's just amazing what they've done to contribute. And sharing your knowledge is the one thing you can do in this world, like to share your knowledge to this world, and, you know, and have that impact, you know. So that's something I definitely want to do. So
that is absolutely amazing. That is, you pointed out a lot of very interesting things there, because I think one of the things that I think is a big problem with schools, they don't always make people, like what you said there about neuroscience and, you know, 7 years really shape you. And one of the things I think when I was growing up, a lot of classes were taught in a very stale manner. I'm not too sure if the teachers even wanted to do it. Like, there's no, if they made things more interesting, or if they gave a reason for why they need to do this and that, then that would motivate students a lot more.
Exactly. And this is the thing, I feel like that's what it needs to be. And even art, the way it's taught, I mean, I would love to change the way that art is taught in schools, because I don't think it's taught in the best way, to be honest with you. Everyone has a copy paste method, and the way everyone's work is pretty much looks very similar. Everyone's sketchbooks look the same. There is no real identity, you know. And I've looked through many sketchbooks and worked in many schools, so I know that it's literally copy paste. There needs to be more individuality. And I remember when I was in doing my GCSEs, people were shocked every time I got out my sketchbook. They were like, what is this? Because I made the cover out of cardboard, and every page was just, it had like lots of different things, and it was very thick, and it was a very unusual sketchbooks that people were like, you know, they were just confused. Like, even the art teacher was amazed, because it was unlike anyone else's, and I wanted to stick out. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to create just a standard sketchbook that everybody was creating. And I feel like that's where schools are lacking. They're not allowing that imagination and creativity. They're just copy paste.
Yeah.
It needs to be different. And well, later on, when you go to university and study art, it's a completely different thing. They'll give you a whole wall, and they'll say, that's your wall, you do what you want with it. And that was, when I reached that stage, I was like, what? That's my wall? Seriously? I could do anything I want with it? And it was just like, wow, it was just a breath of fresh air, that freedom, giving that freedom. And then if I ever wanted to create an art piece in the university, all I had to do is be like, I would just have to fill in a form and let them know that I wanted to create an art piece in the hallway or something. And I did that. I remember I painted the whole, I was working on a project where I was doing like prayer mats, and I painted like prayer mats going from the wall to the main art studio door. So everybody that walked in had to walk on the prayer mats, but then people were, it was interesting seeing how people reacted, because some people were like trying to be like, oh, this is like a holy thing, this is prayer mats, we don't want to step on it. So people were kind of treading over it, and there was a whole different thing going on. So, and then I created a large one in the middle of the corridor in Westminster University, in the middle of one of in the art hall. So it was just that freedom that you're given. I think they need to give a bit more freedom. That's all it is. It just needs to be a bit more freedom in GCSE art. I would definitely yeah. So I don't know if they still call it GCSE, and they might have changed the name now, but in art in high school, basically, it needs to be changed, I believe.
What Yeah, I had another podcast with a friend of mine who's a fitness trainer,
Yeah.
and one of the funny things I find quite funny is, yeah, he spoke to a careers advisor about what he should do. But the thing is, the career advisor is not doing what they want to do a lot of the time, and they're giving career advice. So that sounds a bit stupid in itself. Like you should get an
That's
entrepreneur that's
the
successful.
thing. That's the thing. A lot of people do the job because they just need the money, and that's understandable. But if you could do something that you could get paid for and enjoy and love, that's the bonus. That's what people need to aim for. And a lot of people will do jobs. I mean, the other day I got, those nuisance calls that people call you. I got like one of those calls, and instead of like just closing it on his face and saying, "Oh, okay, I'm not interested in whatever he was," can't remember now. But anyway, so I was just like, "Oh, is this something you want to do?" Like I was just talking to him genuinely, and then he just genuinely started saying, "Look, no, this is not the career I want. I don't want to be calling people and doing this." And I was like, "What do you want to do?" Because he's like, "Oh, I'm just doing it for money, and he actually got into a conversation with me, and I was like, maybe I've helped him, I don't know. But a lot of people that do jobs, it is because obviously they need to pay the bills, they need to roof on their head, and that's understandable. But I would say to anyone that's in a job that they don't like is to stay in that job, obviously, because you don't want to be out of that job and not be able to pay rent. But at the same time, while you're in that job, look for something that you actually want to do.
Mm.
That's exactly it. Look for something that actually want, and don't think, oh, I don't have the experience, or I don't have. If you shine through, sometimes they give you a chance. You never know. You could
Yeah.
try. You've got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose. I mean, you could give 100 CVs out or something, and just, you never know. You got nothing. You got nothing to lose by trying, but you've got a lot to gain if somebody gives you a shot. So, and sometimes you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. So you might have to start in the job that you like, but you're not necessarily exactly the position you want, and then just kind of work your way up.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it's something. But also, just by taking that decision that they don't want to do something that they hate, they can go on a journey, and if that doesn't work out, they'll stumble onto something. Like
Exactly. That's exactly as it as well. You've just said it, yeah. Sometimes as well, like you've got to try. Like I tried working in high schools and teaching art in high school, and I did a PGCE, and I felt like that wasn't I didn't want to do high school, even though I love teaching art and creating the activities. High school was very tiring, and it was just, they weren't listening. A lot of people messed around in the classroom. I was spending time taking them out of the class, bringing them back in, telling them they're not wearing the right uniform, because they told me this is what you have to do. Make sure you're careful with telling the kids if they're not wearing the right uniform. And they were telling me lots of things to tell the kids, which I just wanted to teach art. And I did help a lot of students, the ones that were doing A levels and the ones that were at a point where they were, they loved art and they had chosen the subject. But a lot of the times as well, the ones that were like year 8, year 9, or they saw it as a mess about lesson, to be honest with you. So it was just like, oh, let's mess about and get on Miss Nerves. Let's get on her nerves. So after that I was like, I don't want to do high school. But then I went, it just got too much. It got too much. So I was just like, I don't think high school's for me. And then that's why I went to early years, because I thought, oh, they're sweet and innocent. Even if they do something wrong, I can forgive it. I can be like, it's fine. They're only sweet and innocent. Then they still have a lot to learn, bless them. So yeah, it's not like they're doing it on purpose. Yeah.
what's a funny story of what's been a very unique and funny story that you've had whilst being a YouTuber and whilst you're teaching art in school?
A unique, oh yeah, well, it happens that once I was a teacher had created an activity, and I saw the work all laid out, and it looked amazing. It was great. And then she said, oh, you never told me you had a YouTube channel. guess what? All this work is from your from the video I watched you do. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I was looking for something to do with the kids. I went on YouTube. I watched one of your videos and I was like, wait a minute, this is Fatima. And then she created the whole activity for the kids based on the video that she watched. And I didn't even know. And then when I came into the classroom and saw the work, she told me that it was all because of my video. And I was just, wow. I was just like, really? You know? So you don't think, you don't know the impact you have, you know? It's just, you don't know. You don't know. You just think you're just, you know, you're just doing something that you love, which I am. So that was nice. That was a nice thing to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what you're doing, it could, as you said, you do want to change things, and I think if what you do gets out to enough people, you could definitely have a massive. It's gonna really change things because you watching the videos, you make it very exhilarating, exciting, and easy and fun. But like,
Yeah.
I watched a lot of other ones when I was in school, as you said, they made it very stale. Like it felt like a chore for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want and I'm glad that you said that. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that you said that because I really appreciate that because that's what I wanted to that's how I want to portray it on my channel, that it is a fun thing. And I think maybe it shows through if the presenter or the person is truly passionate about what she's talking about, or if it's a script and you're just told to stand in front of it. And most of the time as well, growing up watching these art shows, you could tell that the people that were presenting the show were not the ones that were actually making any of the work. There was people in the background creating the work, and the presenters were the ones that just, you know, presenting. And I'm not saying those presenters were bad, they were great as well, and I enjoyed watching those shows. But I think maybe it does show through. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it does show through from the robotic sense of having to follow a script and to do it that way. Yeah.
It's, you know, did you ever used to watch Art Attack?
Yeah, I did. I watched Art Attack. That was, yeah, I used to watch Art Attack a lot actually. But to be honest with you, it never turns out the way they show you. Never, ever, ever, ever. Shall I tell you why? A lot of the times as well, the paints they're not using are not the child-safe poster paints that children will use. It's obvious that they use acrylic paint, which yes, they're using. It's so obvious because poster paint will not apply onto the pieces on, especially on paper mache, will not apply in that way, but acrylic paint will. And acrylic paint has that thickness, but acrylic paint with kids, I never use it with little kids because once it gets stuck to clothes and stuck to a lot of things, it's very hard to the stain doesn't remove as well as child safe poster paint. So a lot of the work was done by professional artists and done by someone that knows what they're doing, using exactly the correct paints that will show amazing results. But when you do it as a kid, it will never turn out like that. But it's not about that. Sometimes, to be honest with you, it's not even about getting the end result. And even in early years, we're teaching kids about like the process more than the outcome. I mean, outcome is great. You want the outcome. Of course, you want a great outcome. But sometimes the process is what's amazing as well, because they're sparking that imagination and they're creating something. And obviously you want the child to be happy with the outcome, and maybe the outcome they show on TV isn't unrealistic, but the fact that they're doing something and they're creating art, that's amazing. And even in this time where, you know, there's a pandemic and people are staying at home with their kids, yeah, just get them to be creative and off the gadgets, off the mobiles or the tablets, and just create something, even if it doesn't turn out the way you want it. And that's the thing about parents. A lot of the times they have it in their mind that this is how it has to be. No, it doesn't have to be like that. If the child wants to paint a cloud that's pink or a cloud that's multicolored, you don't need to tell them, oh, the cloud has to be that color or that elephant has to be that color. They could just create it the way they want to. So I think we need to be less strict and allow people to allow children to create the thing they want to create. It doesn't have to necessarily be the same outcome as what we're telling them. And that's the thing. I love art that it can be a different outcome for everyone. I love that sort of art, because if you're telling someone it has to look like this, and then they finish the art piece and it doesn't look like this, it's fine. Actually, it's fine. But because a lot of people, they get like really like, oh no, it didn't turn out the way it should. It's, and if you, it depends obviously what you're trying to make. If you're trying to make something practical, like something to put things in, or like pencil case or whatever, obviously you want it to work. And if you didn't try, even if you don't get it right the first time, you can try a few times until you're happy, but not necessarily get frustrated or upset that it didn't turn out. And that's the same with drawing. If you're trying to be a portrait artist, when you first do the portrait, it might turn out rubbish, and that's fine. Try again and try again and try again until you get it right. With anything in life, I guess, even music, cooking, doesn't all, practice makes perfect, I guess. So yeah, sorry, I'm going on too much, so you can ask me another question now.
It's a bit like, what's it called? Have you heard of the thing called smart?
Yeah.
It's a bit like smart, like, or like, and it's a bit like in joke writing. What a lot of comedians do is often like the first idea you're going to write when you're writing a joke is going to be terrible. So you have to write it maybe 10, but you have to go through the creative process.
Oh yeah, exactly. The creative process is everything. That's it. It is everything. The creative process. If you go through the creative process, you will reach the outcome. And sometimes you might not. And in art, sometimes as well, there's such things as happy mistakes as well. So if you create an art piece and you're like, oh, it didn't work, but then actually might have. It's a really weird thing, but artists, they go through it all the time, where they have those lovely happy mistakes or unintentional mistakes, and then it actually works. So
Yeah.
but the thing is, you won't have any of those if you don't try. You'll just have nothing if you don't try. So you've just got to try. You just got to do something, because then there's a chance of something happening. Even if you think, oh, I can't draw, and you want to be an artist, but you can't draw, it's fine. I really genuinely think that you don't have to know how to draw to be an artist. You don't need to know how to draw to be an artist. And that's the problem again with education, and they teach you have to know how to draw. There are plenty of artists that do not know how to draw, but they create art in different ways, in different mediums, in different ways. So art is not necessarily about knowing how to draw perfectly.
Yes, and I think that also applies in a lot of fields in whatever you name. A lot of them say that you have to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, if you're starting off in something, you should know those certain things, because you can't do anything proper without knowing the basics.
Yeah. It depends. It depends what it is. It really does depend what it is. That's the thing. Like, for example, something that you might be saying, oh, like just say a portrait of someone. Obviously, like over time, you will learn the skill of how creating a portrait of someone. But then but then you could do it in your own style. Like I've seen portraits where, the face isn't necessarily like the standard colored skin color. Like they use different colors. They use like the cubism method, where it's kind of maybe collaged or a different way, and that works as well. So it depends how you. I don't know if we could use a better example, but yeah, sometimes obviously you need the skill of doing a certain thing, but then it depends. Even like, for example, children's book illustrations, you might have a particular style of children's book illustrations to someone else, and then that could be your style. So people will request for you to do illustrations based on your style. It might not be the way that it's traditionally done, but it might be just your style. Like, I don't know. So I guess you can make a name for yourself for the way that you can do it in your own way, rather than copying how it should be done. I think it's okay to break the rules. That's all.
Yeah.
In a lot of jobs, it's okay to break the rules. And I think actually a lot of animators and a lot of, if we're looking into that, a lot of people that have created the most amazing pieces are the ones that actually went, like Pixar, for example, that went outside the box, that thought of a new idea. that
Yeah.
didn't stick to the book standard. Oh, this is what a cartoon should look like. These what cartoon characters should look like. They're the ones who actually thought outside the box. So it's always good to think a bit outside the box. So yeah.
I was watching a podcast. Do you know? I can't remember the name of it. Is it Tom Bilyeu or something like that? He's quite famous. He's doing quite well. Like, do you know of Louis Howe? School of
I
Great.
actually don't know, but you can let me know because I'm not sure about yeah, I'm not very good with names. I'll tell you that now. But yeah, if you can let me know about that, that would be great.
Sure, I'll send you some links. He's
Fantastic.
Tom I'll send you the link anyway, and for
Okay.
everyone that's watching. But he was speaking to this 14-year-old bloke who'd like, yeah, by the time he was 14, he went into one of the top universities in America. And like he's about 30 odd now. He runs his own company, and he's a
Wow.
big innovator. And and he's like an expert in like 3 or 4 different fields.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said a lot of innovations come from people in industries, come from people who are on the periphery of their industries,
Yeah.
because they're not so tied down into a certain way of thinking.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. That's exactly it.
One of the
And
things, sorry.
that's the thing that art has taught me. It's that you don't have to stick to the rules all the time. You can change the idea and create a new idea, and that's what allows us to grow. And yeah, I think as humans, and to do all the things we're doing now, and is to think of innovative ideas, to think of new ideas. So yeah, he's 100% right. That's exactly it. And yeah, I think that the fact that you could as well, like they always say, focus on the one thing that you want to achieve and create. And I think, yeah, it's good to have a focus on something, so like a particular niche or something that you but then within that niche you can branch out to a range of different things. But it can as long as your like I said, your passion shows through, that's exactly it. So that would be my advice, really, is to sometimes good to niche, go to the niche that you feel like you love doing, so whatever that is.
Because it's something that I sort of figured out recently, because I've been doing a few comedy mentoring things with someone who's a bit of a she's a theatre act and a comedian at the same time. She does a lot of movement, lots of. She's a bit different. Her name's Elf Lyons. She's a bit different to a lot of comedians.
Yeah.
And what she point to me? What was the thing she said to me? And it's from the podcast I was talking about. Yeah, she what she does. She doesn't just watch a lot of stand-up comedy. She watches a lot of like mime artists or ballet dancers, because it helps. She wants to get some sort of new ways of moving on stage to make it more entertaining.
Yeah.
And this other guy I'm on about, he makes the time to go and study different industries to see what ideas he can take. For athletes, they watch other athletes to try and see what they can take.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what people need to do, really. And I truly believe that. And that's the thing, a lot of my practice and art is that you've got to look at other artists. You've got to go to art galleries. You've got to see what's out there. It's no point, I mean, it's great doing your own thing, but education and research is vital. Like, growing up and doing art, that was something that we had to do. You've got to, even if whatever, I think it applies to everything. Like I said, like cooking, you've got to taste food, you've got to go to restaurants, you've got to see what's out there. And as well, you could learn from it, you can get inspired from it. But that's very vital in art, and very vital in a lot of fields, a lot. Maybe probably almost, yeah, actually all fields, I would believe. You need to know, you need to educate yourself. And that education is key. Yeah, regarding everything, even now with this whole the Black Lives Matter, education is key. Education, to educate yourself and understand the history of what's going on, that's vital. So whatever it is, whatever subject it is, even if it's something to do with, like, even me wearing a headscarf and being in the public eye, obviously getting all those comments, I would say to anyone that has obviously given me negative comments on wearing a headscarf is to educate themselves and to understand all of that, because education is key in everything.
It all comes that, and for that education, there's one big lesson that we learn: race, height, size, gender, orientation, religion mean absolutely jack shit.
Yeah.
That's the end of the day.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We are all one. We are all one, and we are all in this world together. And all of this, putting people in a box and saying, oh, this is a group of people, this is a group of people, and I actually hate it. I despise it when I see that. I've got friends from all backgrounds, yeah. So I don't like when people say, oh, you know, you're this group of people, because it's not like that. We are all one. We are all one. And I even see it in the school playground until now. When I go to take my kids to school now, obviously I haven't taken them for a while, but when I used to take them, I would see parents in groups based on either their color or their background, and I used to always just jump in and mingle with them. But I still feel it. I feel that people are separating themselves from others, and it frustrates me. It frustrates me to see in London, a multicultural place, people are putting themselves in groups based on that. And it was the same thing was done when I was in high school, and it's the same thing when I drop off my kids to school. I see people in their own groups. No, I think people should be more together and not look at each other based on color or what they're wearing, or how much money they've got, even how much money you've got. It's not like, oh, you know, we're all human, no matter how rich or poor you are. We're all human, we're all one. And I stand for that, and I've been trying to break that actually in the school playground. I've been trying to break that. I've been trying to join in with other people in other conversations and just break that, but it's so hard. It's just so hard to break, because you've got to people have to allow it to happen in this world. They have to allow us to join in, and that's the thing I love about YouTube and going to the YouTube space as well. When I go to the YouTube space, I feel like I am welcomed with open arms. I don't feel like they put me in a box and tell me, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be here, because a lot of the times I am the only one from my background, and that's perfectly fine. And everyone's just so kind. And the YouTube community, I have to thank them a lot, really, because I didn't feel like they did that at all, to be honest with you. And it's a very friendly community. So that I can definitely say. Every time I go to the YouTube space and I hang out with everyone's just so lovely. Yeah, living in London, definitely there's times where I felt it. Growing up in London, felt it a lot. But yeah, hopefully things will change. But I don't know how long it will take, but hopefully things will change it, you know.
There's a lot that I can comment on that, and I think so. One of the things I think what happened with Jake Paul has helped make YouTube a better place, and it's put limitations on there. I think also in regards to people, like, there's never been a problem in the YouTube space. I think one of the things is, are you talking about the London YouTube space?
Yeah, the London YouTube space is where I always go. It's like my second home. Every time, like, I used to go there a lot, actually, like, yeah, to events and stuff. So it's like, yeah, home away from home. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons for that is they're already happy and successful. So and they're doing what they love doing. So there's none of the hang-ups, and they're just happy. They're happy.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's what it is, because everyone's just so lovely every time I go there. And yeah, I can jump into any sort of group and any conversation. I'm that sort of person. I'll just talk to everyone, literally everyone. I don't even if, you know, I don't know them, whatever, but I want to know them, and I'm interested to network and find out more about them. So I don't try to say, oh, but I'm not from that, you know, or I don't quite fit in, I try to break away from that idea and try to just jump in and just chat to everyone and just, you know, be myself. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't be themselves.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Because there is something called thinking that people are thinking negatively about you. Like, for example, like I could be walking out on the street, somebody gives me a look. I think, oh, they're giving me a look based on like my background or whatever. But they might have actually had really good intentions, and we got to think the best of people. That's what I believe. You need to think the best of people. I'm not saying I haven't been attacked. I have been attacked several times being out and about in London. I have to say that. And people have said really nasty things. And I have been I have been attacked several times for being Muslim and wearing a headscarf. I have been attacked, but even with that, there are so much amazing people in this world, and we can't take the people that said the negative things or said the horrible things and paint everyone the same color. Just like I don't want everyone to think of me the same as someone else that might represent Islam, but in a very bad way. I don't want people to think of me in that way. So I can't think of that one person or those few people that have treated me really badly. And yeah. And also as well, I feel like the way you are once you get attacked, it plays a key role on how it could go. I'll give you just a little quick story. Basically, this guy was getting on the bus with me, and I had my pram. I had my child in the pram, and he basically just started swearing at me really badly, and shouting at me and telling me to get in really quickly and stuff like that. So basically, instead of me like swearing back or being very rude back, because a lot of people probably would be, but I was just speaking to him in a very kind way, and I just responded to him, oh, you know, there are better ways to talk to people. I understand that you might be angry and frustrated, but I was just speaking to him in a very calm way. And then afterwards, he sat on the bus, and then he said to me, actually, I'm really sorry, because I was just having a really bad day. He came to me in the bus, sat next to me, and said, look, I'm really sorry. I was just having a really bad day. My job's really intense. I'm going through a lot in my life. But I admire the way you responded to me. And then guess what? He's the one who actually helped me take my pram out of the bus afterwards. And then when I was going to leave, he's like, do you need some help? And then he actually let me out. But I think it's the way you approach the situation, because if I would have lashed out and just gotten angry and started swearing at him, then I would have been the one in the situation and made myself look bad. And so you have to kind of the way you approach I guess my parents always taught me that. Even once I remember getting bullied in school, my dad said, why don't you just go give them some sweets? And I was like, what? I'm not going to do that. You should just be kind to them. Just be kind to them, because you don't know like their situation or what they're going through. A lot of times kids as well, they go through something, and you know, they might have something in their personal life. They quite, you know, they don't know how to be, so they'll just be horrible to others. But then I actually didn't do that. I didn't give the sweets because I was so angry. But but then you know, that's something that I've just learned in my life, that just be kind to people. And you know, I'm not saying let people walk all over you. That's not what I'm saying at all, because there are times obviously you can stand up for yourself, but stand up for yourself in a way that doesn't make you look bad. And it is a hard balance. It is a very hard balance, because I'll be honest with you, like quite recently in my job that I worked in as a nursery, working in a nursery, I was bullied by staff for the way I looked and wearing a headscarf. And I've never been bullied in school for that, but in my workplace I was, because they would say nasty comments about my headscarf, why I was wearing it, and treated really badly. And for that, and growing up in London, I had never felt that before, like in school or in high school, or even in uni. But in my workplace, I did feel that, and that's quite sad. But again, I tried to respond in a way that wasn't, obviously I had to address it and I had to tell management, but the way you respond is vital, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. It reminds me, there's an Oriental basketball player. I can't remember what his name is. He played for New York, Jeremy Lin, and he used to get called like Yao Min or this and that. And his coach said to him, why did you respond like that? You're just giving them what they want. But if you don't do that, then you're not giving them what they want.
They want you to get angry. They want you to get frustrated. They want to push your buttons. That's what they want. And if you do, then they're happy. They're happy. They've achieved what they wanted to achieve, really. So yeah, I don't know. Like, that's just the way I've approached things. And a lot of people say to me as well, why do you always do that? Why do you always think the best of people? And I think I just have to, because if you start gossiping or talking badly about people, I believe that's bad as well, because you know you're just making yourself angry. You're carrying that thing on that hate on inside you, and it can manifest into like anger, and it could just ruin your day. So why do it to yourself? Why let people get to you? And being, like I said, with what I told you about the comment section and people commenting and stuff, you've just got to let things go sometimes. You have not. I know it's not easy for everyone. I know it's not, but you just have to do that. Otherwise, you'll just drive yourself insane. So yeah.
You actually made me think. You actually made me think of something about some of the recent events that have been going on. So you've already helped me a bit in a way, and it's see, with all the sort of like the protests going on, and like there was also the far right protests going on as well. I mean, it's with what's going on in the UK, it is getting a bit more divisive.
Yeah.
And one of the things, even though maybe it would be a bit dangerous, is to have people from both sides talk in a room together. Even though it would be offensive and bad and all this and that, if you can get the security guards to stop them from attacking each other, then
yeah. Oh God, I don't know how that would work out, really, because you can see in the protest it gets really heated, doesn't it? I don't know if that but you're right. Sometimes it just needs to be laid out all on the table. But some that's the thing, you've got to realize people are not that, you know, everyone has different ideologies, and like I said as well, like sometimes it's the way you've been raised as well. Like if someone's been programmed to believe this person is bad, and that's why I say to you the early years, and also like early education, and the way the things parents tell kids is very, like what they tell their kids, what they teach their kids is very important, because they can mold them to hate, to truly hate, or be scared of another someone from another background. And being in a nursery environment has shown me this, because I've seen there was a parent that came in and she said, I don't want anyone that's black to look after my child. She actually said that. I don't want anyone black to look after my child. And obviously all the black staff were furious, as they should be. But you know what? Management actually allowed it. And they said everyone that's black can't look after this child. And that's just not right at all. And I've had kids as well that are scared. There was one child that was scared of the black staff, and was pointing to her and screaming and crying. Where did that child is young, that child is like 3 years old or 4 years old, where would that child get that from? Because parenting is everything, and you know, parenting and the way education and the way children are molded is everything. And so that's the thing. It's unfortunately sometimes it's like the brain is like the computer. It's been programmed in that way just like people might be programmed to hate Muslims and people that wear headscarf. It's programmed. I believe we are all one, and I believe that we should love everyone and not look at anyone's color or what they're wearing or gender or sexuality or any of those things, regardless of whether my religion says, you know, this and that. It's everyone's the same, yeah. So and that's because thanks to my parents who taught me to be like that. My dad was friends with everyone. He was friends with the Jewish neighbor, he was friends with the Christian neighbor, he gave out Christmas cards every year. You know, he taught us to just love everyone and not look at someone because of the color of their skin. But not everybody has that privilege. Not everybody is able to have that in their life. People are molded in such a negative way sometimes and taught bad things. You know, I had a child in my kids' school say very nasty things to me. He said, "Paki, get out of my country." That's what he said to me. Shouted it. And I was thinking, he's an innocent child. Where would he get that from? So, yeah, it's difficult. Difficult to actually. We're talking about quite heavy topics, but like I said, I'm not a spokesperson for my religion, or I'm not. You know, I'm not any of that. My like I said, my channel is all about creativity, art, and fun. And but I think these topics are very important to address, of course, and we should never stay silent about them because yeah, they're very important.
It's there is a I admire how you've been able to deal with those situations in such a good manner, and I think it's right. It's a better way to deal with it because you're just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
But there's also one. What was the point I wanted to say?
Yeah.
One thing is, but one thing that I've found a bit of a difficult thing to deal with at the moment is not during the lockdown, but before it. Sometimes when you're with sort of people that are saying, you're with people that are gossiping and saying bad things about other people. Yeah. The odd few occasions here and there, it's had a little bit of an effect on me, if I'll be honest.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want it to.
Of course, that does happen, and it is difficult. It is difficult because sometimes as well, like it can be peer pressure or being part of a group of people. So they're talking badly about somebody, and then you have two directions to go. You either agree with them and hey, you're part of the group, or you say something and you speak out, and they might hate you, but you might have changed something. Or but then I think it depends again in that situation how you approach it as well. So if they're speaking badly about someone, you could either add fire to the fuel, whatever, just fuel to the fire, I meant. Said it wrong. Yeah, fuel to the fire. You can either add fuel to the fire and just speak more badly about that person, and heighten the situation and be like, yeah, that person's this, or you could be if you don't think that of the person, or even if you do, keep it to yourself and just approach the situation in a more in a sort of a calmer manner and not heighten the problem. Yeah, because backbiting is a very difficult thing, because again, what they might be saying might be wrong, and sometimes people as well, they say one thing, another person says another thing, another person says another thing, and then that person's made to look like they're really bad when they might actually be really good. You don't know. And sometimes you can't always believe what you hear as well about certain people, because it might not be true, no matter who they are. That's why I don't get when people are obsessed with celebrities. Do you know that person? Do you know their life? Do you know if they're good or bad? You might be inspired by their music, I respect that, or inspired by their artistic work, but so you don't know them as a person. You have no idea who they are. And you know, with certain people as well, with stories coming out about certain celebrities, and it's highlighted that you truly don't know the person to be obsessed about them.
Yeah.
To that level. Yeah.
Well, one thing, you've made a lot of very insightful points. And one of the things I've loved about doing podcasts and listening to podcasts is that they're very good at seeing things, because people can talk very frankly on them. Like on a talk show, they can't do that. In a podcast, people can talk honestly and frankly about things. And when I've been watching a podcast or when I've been talking to someone, each and every single one of them, I've learned something, or I've seen something that I didn't think of before.
Oh, that's good then. That's good. Yeah, I like podcasts for that as well. So yeah. Yeah, so whatever I've said today and it's helped anyone out there, or you by that matter, then I'm happy. I'm happy to help, of course. Yeah, so that's great. That's great. And I actually appreciate that you reached out to me and told me to join you today and do this podcast. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny when you try and reach out for podcasts, because you're not too sure how to sort of go about doing it, and you're not too sure how to approach it because you don't know who the person is. But one thing, it's clear that you've been through a very entertaining time. Like, it's been lots of ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I mean, so through your journey of being a YouTuber,
yeah,
how has so you start from ground zero, you start producing videos, and your friends start like it. How did you gradually go? How did it eventually get to the position you are in?
So just I would say, like, I kept producing content. I wasn't always as persistent as they say you should be. Like I would have gaps here and there because, like, life does take over and you do go through things in life. And so, but then whenever I had that chance, I would create content. I would upload it on my socials, so Facebook, Twitter, all the socials that I had. And then of course as well, you have to think about the thumbnails, and sometimes just changing the thumbnails made a big difference. And I would see a spike in a video because when I first started, didn't know how to make thumbnails, so I would just make a thumbnail because I thought it would look good, and the writing would be, on the thumbnail, but then when you look at it on your phone, you don't consider that when you look at it on a device, a different device, the writing is going to be so small that no one's going to even see what says on the thumbnail. It's just going to look like gibberish. So then you have to kind of think about that as well. So I changed a few things on my channel and just told people about it, and I think it's about as well adding maybe value, like people that are searching for certain things, they maybe basically my one is about knowledge, and so someone that doesn't know how to do a particular technique would look on YouTube, and if that helped them, then they would like it, they were likely to follow. And yeah, I don't know, really, you don't know how these things work because but it takes time. It just takes time, and you just got to keep on going. I would say just someone that's starting out on YouTube, just keep on creating content, advertise everywhere you can, tell people. Sometimes as well, I would just meet people and we'll just get into a random conversation and just tell them, oh, guess what? I've got a YouTube channel and it's all about this. They might be interested, they might not be interested. Like, I just like to bring it up in conversation when I'm around people. So I think it's just that sometimes it's word of mouth, sometimes it's just socials, just, so far I haven't paid for any ads or anything like that. I haven't paid for nothing, no ads, nothing like that. Maybe I should do that, but I haven't done that at all. It has just been all like organic views. It's been just me uploading content and me telling people and just uploading it on my other socials. That's literally all it's been. And but for other people, maybe they've tried different things and it's worked, and I'm still growing. I don't see myself as I just feel like I'm still learning, I'm still growing on the platform. I try not to compare myself to YouTubers that are much bigger than me, but because I am me, and I would say for everyone as well that's up there, don't compare too much, because you are you and you are unique and you're yourself, and there's no one else in the world like you. So if you just do you and who you are and your personality, you will gain those views and stuff, and little improvements the key improvements, improved lighting. I gradually improved like my setup. Little key things like that make a big difference. But a lot of the times as well now in this day and age, like now I'm using my phone to speak to you, and it's clear. So a lot of the times now with the development of technology, you're able to use what you've got, and that's great. So yeah, I would just say go for it. Just go for it. And just keep on going. Just keep advertising everywhere you can, tell people, and that's it really.
I was watching a podcast with a comedian friend of mine called Nigel. Well, he's not a friend of mine, but he's an acquaintance, but he's doing very well for himself, and he's done fantastic. Good for him. It's very good to see people do well. It's not a bad thing. It just shows that you can do it too. But he used to be a data scientist, and he says there's two principles that he focuses on. So if he's doing something and it's working, keep it. And if it's I'm going to look through my phone because where did I take the notes? I had it somewhere, but he said the main point was I mean, it sounds simple, but he says he tries something new, and if it works, keep it. And that's what.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You have to do that. You have to see what works, carry on with that, and see what doesn't work, and just sometimes as well videos might not work initially, but over time you might see a spike in that video more than you thought. But at the same time, you have to apply that as well. You have to apply what works with everything. Like even I apply that with gardening as well. I have in my garden a little test center area where I not center, but like a little area where I try out new crops. If they give me good harvest, they end up doing well, I plant them next year. If they don't, I scrap them. It just didn't work. And sometimes as well, it could be not what you did, but how you did it. For example, in a video, you might have created a video which might have been amazing and people would have loved to watch. But the problem is the thumbnail was rubbish, and the way you went about it, this description, the way you tagged it, whatever, something you did was wrong. And then afterwards, it might have not gotten what. So if you've got a video that you believe is actually really good, that you think should be center of attention or should gotten more views, change these little things, change the thumbnail, change like that. Same goes as well, like when I was gardening, if it didn't work, maybe I didn't put the right fertilizer, maybe I didn't put the right soil in there, maybe I did something wrong, maybe I didn't water it as much or watered it more, or whatever it was, that could have made it flop. But not necessarily what you wanted to make, but how you went about it. So it could be a mixture of the two, really. Yeah.
It's all a journey as it is. It's
all learning. It's a learning curve, and for me as well, my channel continues to evolve and I'm going to continue hopefully producing content and stuff. Recently has been very difficult, and you will go through obstacles, and that's the other thing with people doing YouTube, is that you're doing with a life and you have things around you. Like I have kids that I'm homeschooling, I have so much, so I haven't been uploading videos as I would hoped, because usually the kids would go to school, I'll be at home doing all that work. So like I'm not getting that time, so that's obviously affected me as well. So you've just got to just try your best to create content, and whenever you can, really, and just keep on going. And that's really is, the more uploads, the more likelihood someone will see you. So that's what I felt. The more I produced, the more videos that were out there, the more likelihood that someone will click on one of my videos and subscribe. So yeah, that's exactly what is needed. Just keep on going and see what works. Like we said.
It's like Thomas Edison. He tried 10,000 times to. People say, "Oh, why are you still doing?" He said, "No, I didn't didn't fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 things that didn't work, and then boom, we sorted it out.
You can never fail, really, by trying. That's the thing. Failure is what scares people. You know, like I said, when you're applying for a job, I'm not going to get the job, why should I try? No, you could get the job. You could most definitely get the job. And positive thinking, I do believe in the law of attraction and attracting
Yeah.
things that you want as well. I do strongly believe in that. And you got to keep on trying and having that goal. Even me, I might have not reached the goals that I wanted initially to reach, but I'm getting there, you know, slowly but surely. And so hopefully I'll, you know, keep on trying and having that focus and what you want, and just keep on going. And even if people, you know, even if people don't want to hear it, or people don't think that you're good enough, or there will be loads of people that will. So you just got to keep on going, and yeah, until you make it. That's like that's motivational. A lot of motivational videos that I watch tell you that. So it's nice to watch those motivational videos when you're feeling a bit down, because let's face it, everybody has those days where they feel a bit down. So it's just, sometimes I like to hear a few motivational videos, just be like, yeah, I could do it, yeah.
Oh yeah. There is a big problem with some of the motivation, but I mentioned it in previous podcasts, but they feed on, you don't, some of it's real, like Tony Robbins is quite real, he's known for being good,
Yeah.
but it's a bit like, if you just depend on it, yeah, it's everything is not given to you on a plate, no matter what. Nothing is given to you on a plate.
Nothing in life is given to you on a plate. Nothing. You've got to work hard. You've got to work your way up. You've got to, there will be obstacles. There will be, you know, there'll be things in life that will, you know, you'll go through a lot. So nobody knows as well. People don't know, or maybe don't care about what you're going through. Then they especially on YouTube, they want to see content. They want to see content, you know, especially if you've got followers. They don't know whether you like whatever. Like for me now, my father's in hospital and I'm going through a lot as well. But it doesn't show. Nobody knows what you're going through. But you've got to just, you know, just got to keep on going and allow yourself that time to breathe and have a time when you need to, and come back stronger. And I think that's important. That's why a lot of YouTubers, even the biggest ones actually, they go through depression, they go through loads of mental health issues. They sometimes leave YouTube for a whole year because they haven't allowed, they've been like robots, they've been constantly producing content and not thought about themselves. So I think you've got to have that fine balance where you think about yourself. Yes, it's about me producing content, it's about me getting followers, it's about me aiming for my big goals. Keep on going, keep on thinking you're going to get those goals, but you can't get those goals and keep on going if you're not allowing yourself to breathe, if you're not allowing yourself to be mentally there, mentally ready. And if you're constantly just producing just for the sake of producing, and you know, that's the thing, you've got to do it. I like to create my videos when I'm relaxed, when I feel like you know, I can, you know, create my content freely and not have the pressures. Because let's face it, I think that's one of the reasons why I involved my kids, because like I made it part of our activity, our part of our normal day-to-day activity. Oh, guess what? Mommy wants to create a video. Let's create the video together. What do you think what your ideas are about the video? What do you think we should do? And then it just becomes natural and stress-free. And I think my best videos are the ones that are like stress-free. I'm not like, oh God, I have to produce content. I know, and then I'm just got stressed, and it's not good for my mental health. It's not good for the people watching my videos. It shows through. You might think it doesn't, but it does. And even if it doesn't, you're not going to be feeling great at the end of it. So I think the best content is the one that you're just truly passionate and enjoy it and relax and be yourself. Don't try to be like the YouTuber that you saw that spoke in a certain way. Just be you. And I think that's important. That's really important. Because a lot of the times we follow trends, we follow other YouTubers, but not necessarily might not even be good for our channel, to be honest with you, because you're just doing it because you think it's popular. So Yeah.
What one thing that the only thing that one of the things that I find, yeah, one thing that I wish more people do their own thing rather than try and be somebody else. But the one thing that I wish more people did was be themselves and do their own thing rather than most people. A lot of people I come across, not all, they try and be somebody else, or they try and copy someone else's trick, or like the ones people I like people that are give and take and they want to do their own thing. I don't like people who sit down trying to learn off someone and try and be them. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, it's two different things. There is, like we said, seeking inspiration. Like, for example, you're watching a type of video and you're like, oh, that video has really inspired me. I'm gonna create a video like similar to that, but actually I've got a completely different idea and different spin to it. So I'm gonna change it, but I'm gonna do it in this way. And that's when your creative side comes out and you are doing it in your own way, but you have been inspired by them.
yes.
But then there's just doing it and just copying exactly. And oh, but people have seen these videos already, so then you haven't really added to the formula. You've just done the same formula, and the same formula might work. I'm not saying it won't. Sometimes it does work, to be honest with you, but then you've lost your individuality. You lost that bit of you in the video, basically. So yeah, I think it's important to stay true to yourself and what you're doing, and yeah, and seeking inspiration and ideas, that's what it's all about, really. So don't take that away. I don't think we should take that away. I think we should still seek inspiration, because also you've got to see what the winning formulas are, and you've got to kind of go with it, but not at the same time. That's the thing. That's all. It's all about not copying, but yeah, getting the ideas to spark a new idea. If that makes sense.
Exactly. It's like when everyone, a lot of people know how to make pizza, a lot of people know how to make pasta at home and this and that, but nothing's better than your own mum's version of that. Like you don't want McDonald's food isn't good.
Exactly. You know what? I just got out my old cookbook, and my kids were shocked because it wasn't such a good state, but I was like, guess what? These are my mum's old recipes. I have them all written down, thank God. And I was so happy to use it and cook them a few meals here and there recently with it. And they were just really happy to see it, because we've been watching this show called, it's on Prime, it's called Just Add Magic. It's a kids show where they have like a magical cookbook and it has all these secret recipes and stuff. And they were amazed that I actually did that. But I actually just wanted to learn from my mum. And I wanted, because like you said, nothing's better than your mom's cooking. So I wanted to know her recipe. And before I left the house, I sat with her and she gave me all her secret recipes. My sisters are actually dying to get their hands on it, because they don't even have it. They didn't do that when they left. So actually, I'm the one that actually has all the secret recipes. So so even some of them my mum's forgotten. So when I went to her recently and I told her, do you remember you used to make this dish? And she was like, I've forgotten how to make it. I was like, well, guess what? I have it all written down. I have it all written down. It's all written down, Mum. So if you want me to make it, I can make it now. Yeah. So yeah, so it is that, like yeah. So just yeah, that's the thing as well with videos. You might remake a video in a particular way that will get people talking, but actually that video was already there. That video was there a long time ago on YouTube, but maybe nobody even realized it or noticed it. But you took it and made it in your own way, and suddenly you've kind of taken it up a level, and you've gotten the views for it. So
Yes.
yeah.
It's like Lily Singh. I love that woman a lot, Lily Singh. She I have a lot of male and female. I have heroes from everywhere, and you got, as you said, take inspiration from everyone. She says even if two people are doing the exact same thing, It's impossible to think things the exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah. So I also like Lily saying I I watch her videos as well, and yeah, great for comedy.
Yeah.
um yeah, and that's the thing, she's the sort of person that, I'm superwoman, so if you think, I'm not saying be big-headed, but if you think a bit highly of yourself, love yourself and think well of yourself, then people will learn to love you and think well of you. So that's another trick as well. People won't love you if you don't love yourself. So that's the first thing. It's all about mental health, loving yourself, embracing yourself, bringing your character onto YouTube and who you truly are. And then I think success will come afterwards. Just be natural. Just be natural. So yeah. That's it really.
I'll tell you what, it's been a fantastic conversation, and it's very insightful. Lots of things for whoever's listening that they could take from it.
Oh,
I've
thank
taken
you.
a lot myself, and I think there's what I often do in each podcast. And one thing I do like about the good podcasts, about certain ones, like I like True Geordie, he likes to go and ask, how would you like to be remembered? But what I like to do is I like to try and ask people, what advice would they give to their younger selves?
Oh God, yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question. I wish, this is gonna sound really weird, and it goes back to the friends thing. I wish I made like solid friends. Does that make sense? Quality rather than quantity, because I made a lot of quantity friends. I got loads of friends, but a lot of them just became Facebook friends. So in terms of personal life, I wish I made quality friends, like had a group of friends that I was with. It doesn't matter if it was one or two. It doesn't need to be a lot. It just needs to be the quality ones. And I think that's where I went wrong growing up. I just was friends and nice with everyone, which is good, but you won't have the quality. But at the same time, you can't go back in time and change anything, because I believe everything happens for a reason. And if you go back and change just a teeny thing of life, it will destroy a lot of other things. So I think everything happens for a reason. In terms of creatively and artistically, and I wish I didn't push myself down. Like, I wish I had started even earlier, because with my whole adventure, and I don't know, like I wish I don't know, I wish I pushed even more, like even before, and I didn't have that self-doubt in the beginning. I think maybe if it wasn't for that friend that pushed me to do YouTube, I think I probably wouldn't have done it. So the thing that gets you down is self-doubt. And if someone back then told me just don't, which they did, that's how I started. But I'm just saying, like, that self-doubt is what can put you down. And so just have more confidence in yourself. Just keep having confidence in yourself and just keep doing it. And that would be advice to anyone out there, actually, with self-doubt. Just do it, and do it in your own way, and don't let people put you down or make you feel bad for succeeding or doing something good. So yeah.
And what is a quote that you'd like to live your life by?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I don't know. Let me think. I don't know. There's so much good quotes. Honestly, don't know which quote I would live my life by. I think because you've put me on the spot, I don't know. But if I was to think about it, I'll probably come with a really good quote. I don't know a good quote that I would live my life by. Let me think. I would say live one day at a time. I don't know if that's a quote, but yeah, just like one day at a time, and just try to do your best live in the present. Live your life in the present moment. So every day, what I like to do is to wake up and be like, what's my goals for today? In fact, when we have breakfast with my kids, I'm like, what are we going to be doing today? And then we just have the goals from the start of the day. And then middle of the day, when we're having our dinner or lunch, or because as Arabs we have the main meal, which is our dinner. We don't have the lunch. We have the breakfast, and then the dinner, and then maybe a light supper. But anyway, so in dinner time we'll be like, what have we achieved today? Like, what have we achieved? What have we done so far? And what are we going to do? So setting those goals and living in the present moment is something I like to do. Because the thing is that it's happened to me so much when I put so much goals on my head, a lot of them, and then I can't achieve them in one day or in those few days. So if I break them down and say, oh, today I'm going to do this, this, and this, and they're doable goals, then I can truly do them. And then at the end of the day, when I'm going to sleep and lying down, I'm like, oh, actually, today I did quite a lot. I did this, 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 this. But I feel like when you don't have a goal, when you just wake up, oh, yeah, I'm just going to wake up, and then you don't have nothing set, I think it can kind of feel a bit lost, and then you just waste time on your phone, you waste time on Netflix, and then time goes by, and then you're like, oh, I didn't get much done today. Oh, well, there's always next day. And then you just cycle continues.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's me as well, by the way. I'm not saying it because it's not, but when I do set goals, I achieve it. It could just be sometimes minor goals. Like today I'm going to tidy this whole room. I'm going to redo it and tidy it. My art studio, for example, or part of my house, or I'm going to do like a few laundry washes or whatever it is. Could be the minor goals, and then there's the career goals. Oh, today I'm going to record a podcast. You know what I mean, with you. So like, I know that's something I'm going to be doing. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be like, this is what I managed to achieve. I managed to record a podcast. I managed to record a few TikToks. I managed to get a few laundry done. I managed to cook the kids dinner from scratch, which is an achievement. I think you have to always look at the achievements as well, even if there's something you do every day. I always cook the kids meals, but even if it's just a meal that you made amazingly, I think at the end of the day, to say that actually today I tried a new recipe and it worked really well, that's something I've learned, that's something that's improved me, that's something that's kept me going, and then you feel good at the end of the day. I think that's what's kind of kept me going. It's just saying these goals, and then at the end of the day, appreciating what I've achieved. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just be happy that you're doing, just for anyone that's listening, be happy that you're doing something or going forward, progressing.
They're progressing. But also, don't put yourself down or feel sad if you've set a goal and it hasn't gone your way, or you completely didn't do it. But try to do it another time, like tomorrow or whatever. So just try to set it again, because you might have been unsuccessful. Like I might have put a bit more goals than I had intended, and then I wasn't able to do it that day. But then, okay, that's fine. Tomorrow I'll try to do it, because today didn't work out. So it's fine. Don't give yourself a hard time. Don't beat yourself up. It's fine. Just keep on doing. But the thing that with being at home is you can get into a lazy state and just be sitting down, playing video games, watching shows, and sometimes you can educate yourself by that way, watching documentaries and certain things and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's a complete waste of time, but then you haven't achieved the thing that you want for example, your career, or where you want to get to, or the thing that's truly important. You might have watched something that was entertaining, but you haven't improved yourself in that way, if that makes sense. And also when you're setting goals, allow time for break, like for you just to be completely like relaxed. Playing, like I said, I do play video games, I do watch Netflix, I do just sit down with my kids and just relax and just create an activity with them without having any cameras or anything, just cooking or whatever. Allow yourself to do that as well, but you have to kind of time it. So say between this time and this time, I'm just going to be completely relaxed. Between this time and this time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to attempt to do this. I'm going to attempt to tidy that room, but you might not end up tidying the whole room. Time might have run out. You might have been able to do half of it. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't give yourself a headache. So yeah, so I think I'm repeating why the message I wanted to say, but that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's what I want to say is that, is there anything you'd like to plug or anything like that? Or
No, that's fine. Actually, my phone's gonna die. You know what?
okay, no worries.
So I think, yeah, I just came up with notification. So I'm sorry if it closes, but yeah, I thought I charged it enough. I guess I didn't.
No
All
worries.
right then. I'm gonna say my goodbyes then. And I hope to hear from you soon. And
Yeah.
thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity.